Okay, so 2019 is done, and I wanted to just kind of talk about how I feel like that year went for me as far as YouTube goes, and some ideas of things that I'm thinking about trying out in 2020. So in terms of subscribers, I would say 2019 was a pretty good year. It effectively doubled. I think I ended up just right around 5,500 subscribers, and I think I started the year a little over 2,000, maybe 3,000, somewhere in there. So it basically doubled in a year. So that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. I would like to see that trend continue, hopefully, as long as I can keep making stuff people want to watch or that I at least enjoy making. I'd like to try to double that again in 2020. As far as the number of videos goes, it wasn't where I wanted it to be. My initial hope, I think my original plan for 2019 was to try to do a video a week or a video every 2 weeks. Either way, I didn't quite make it. I think I ended up with 19 videos in 2019. So not one a week, not one every 2 weeks, but a lot of them are still fun. And one thing I did start to do in 2019, so obviously this has always been a woodworking channel, hence the name. I mean, sawdust is life. I think that kind of implies woodworking. But I've started adding in welding in some of my projects just because that's been something that I've always wanted to learn, and I've had some ideas that I thought were pretty fun, so that's where those things have come from. And along that same kind of direction, I've been considering some changes, and I'm still going back and forth. I haven't really decided how I want to do this. So this isn't my only YouTube channel. I have another one that I talked about in the episode where I made a folding table. The top was ash and the bottom was steel. It's a channel where I just review hot sauce because I like spicy food. And I have another channel that's just under my name, Jeremiah Rodriguez, that I do. I haven't done a lot on it yet, but it's meant for photography. One of my biggest struggles, in a way, with all of this is I have a lot of hobbies. Too many hobbies, I think some would argue. And time-lapse photography is one of those. Time-lapse plus a little bit of astrophotography and landscape photography. So that's all on that channel. And there will probably be some tech-ish type stuff there too, mostly related to photography and videography, but I didn't feel like that really was a good fit with the woodworking stuff necessarily. So that's why that one's separate. I'm kicking around the idea of starting another channel related to cooking, another big hobby of mine. I didn't get to look like this off McDonald's. it's off of my own cooking. So I'm kicking that idea around. I've filmed a couple episodes, working on the edits just to kind of see if I like them or not, and if I want to do that or not. I mean, I always cook dinner for my family on Sundays anyway, so I've got a day where I could go ahead and I just have to set up the camera, get a few different angles. So that one's still up in the air, but it's probably going to happen. And then a few others that I won't get into yet because I don't really have anything on them at the moment. They're still things I'm kicking around. But what is related to this channel is more in the vein of making things, but things that are not woodworking related. So I just finished watching a video this morning from the Make Something channel with David Picciuto, and it really kind of struck a chord with me because the things that he was talking about are the same kind of, I'm not sure if struggles is the right word, are the same kind of struggles I'm kind of going through in my own mind with what I want to do here. I mean, obviously, woodworking is a big part of it. That's what this whole shop and all of these tools are for. And I enjoy it, and I suspect I'll always enjoy it. But there are other things that I enjoy making, and the question is, do I include those on this channel, or do I make yet another channel to put that stuff on? And I guess that's kind of a question that I pose to you, the audience, because I haven't decided what I want to do there, and there are a few factors. I started this channel a little over 10 years ago. The first couple of years there wasn't that much. I did like one video a year, and most of those I think I ended up deleting at some point because either the quality was really bad, or I later learned that maybe a specific way of doing something was pretty unsafe, or whatever. For whatever reason, I got rid of those videos. But it's always been about woodworking. And my concern in adding other making stuff is that, if I don't know how much of the audience has been here since the beginning, but the concern is if somebody came here specifically for the woodworking stuff, if I add in something else, are they going to stay? Maybe that should or shouldn't be a concern, but part of the reason, and just to be completely honest, I mean, this channel makes money. Not a lot, but it does make a little bit of money. Like it's like a sushi date with my wife once a month, something like that. Not a lot, but it is generating money. And because of that, one of the concerns is if I add in stuff that, while still kind of scratches that creative itch that I have, it may have nothing to do with woodworking. It may have nothing to do with welding. Would people stay? Would it still get views? Because I want it to still make money. And if I were to do a separate channel, the concern there is then time is split, and so even though some of the things that, and I'll get into what these other things are in just a second, but some of these other things, the time it takes to create that video is time taken from a project for this channel. So my concern is that the frequency of content being put out on this channel would go down if I did a separate channel. And the other thing too, if I were to add in other creative projects, it does make me wonder if I need to change the name, because to me the name implies woodworking, and a lot of this stuff honestly has nothing to do with woodworking. So what are these other things? Well, there's a channel I've been following recently that it's probably my favorite artistic kind of maker type channel out there. It's called the Crafsman, Crafsman. I'll link to him in the description. I don't know, to me he's a mix of kind of a mix of Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross, except he doesn't do painting. It's all little tiny sculpting and model making and mold making and casting and just all types of a lot of action figure type stuff. I don't know. To me, it's just very engrossing. I could watch that dude all day long. And through watching his channel and just my crazy imagination going off into the weird places that it goes, it's given me some ideas for things that I want to try making, little itty-bitty action figures or whatever. And so stuff like that involves sculpting, it involves casting and painting, and along with that, the main kind of big project in that area that I'm working on, it would also involve some stop motion animation, so that I could actually animate these little figures. And obviously animation isn't something I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel. So if I made a video about that, where do I put it? The other thing that I've been using as a way to practice small scale sculpting, and this is probably going to sound weird, especially when you consider I mill lumber. I've got this gigantic 42-inch bar chainsaw. I was Marine infantry for years. Like, a lot of this kind of the rough and tumble gruff side of things. But one of the things I've had a lot of fun making recently. Now, to give this some context, I've got 5 kids, and 4 boys and a girl. The girl, she's 11. And so she's at that age where she's really into the cutesy sort of things. And as I've been practicing sculpting and making small things, I've learned about these things called charms, which I guess are really big for kids her age. I had no idea. But I've made some, like this little itty bitty, I don't know if that's going to focus. Let me get my face out of the way and then maybe it'll focus. This little itty bitty narwhal. We just watched Elf recently, and so narwhals were on my mind. I've made, I don't know, I've probably made half a dozen of these little things, and they're, I don't know, it feels like an odd fit having this type of sculpting, which if you look into the internet videos about this type of thing, is generally like younger women make that stuff, and that's obviously not me. But it's fun, and I think it's good practice for these more complicated things that I'm trying to develop the skills to be able to sculpt. And even though it's weird, if you happen to know me in real life, it kind of makes sense, because I don't make sense a lot of the time. Like, it's just this weird, all over the place sort of thing up here. And people that have known me a long time, family, they know what I'm talking about. It's just, my wife likes to think of it as sort of a creative ADD, and which actually ADD is a very common thing in my family. But my creative energies go all over the place. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily good at any of them. I'm okay at some, but there's just a ton. And yeah, if I could focus on one, I could probably get really good at that one thing, but I can't focus on just that one thing and disregard everything else, because all these other things are fun. Maybe it's too many Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid, but that's the world my mind operates in. And so I bring that up just as kind of a question to you, the viewer, if on this channel, if the name changed to, I don't know, I have no idea. If I were to change the name, I have no idea what I would change it to, but it would be something a little more general, a little more broad. It wouldn't be specific to sawdust anymore. And that's something I'll have to kick around, assuming I go that direction. But let's say that I do. Let's say I change it to whatever the name is, and now it's still woodworking. It's still beginning to include welding, hopefully someday even some machining, but it's also including various types of sculpture, be that with clay. I've actually done some sculpting, and I guess you could, well, technically I guess it'd be carving, but it's still similar. If you look back, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I did a video where I carved a nativity set for my grandma. That's kind of sculptural. So there's been hints at this stuff before, but there has never been anything that seems to be mainly enjoyed by 12-year-old girls. You see what I mean? It's just kind of a weird mix. And it's something I'm going to keep making because my daughter loves them. And I think another reason, so there's a few reasons why I'm considering this, besides the fact that I don't spend all my time woodworking. I think it would allow me to release videos more frequently and more consistently, because little things like that are things that I can make on my lunch break while I'm at work, especially because I work from home most of the time. And I like to call it a set. That's a bit of a stretch, but the set where I record my hot sauce reviews is right across from my work desk, and so it'd be really easy to just keep that tripod set up and just point the camera down at the table and record a video of making Treebeard from Lord of the Rings 1.5 inches tall. Just as an example, because that is something I do want to try making. So it wouldn't be, if I do add in these sculpting videos, it wouldn't necessarily always be these little, I think the style is called kawaii or something like that. It's a Japanese thing that I guess means cute. I don't know. It wouldn't always be this kind of stuff. It would be Lord of the Rings characters, because I love Lord of the Rings. Just whatever. Tacos. I actually have made a couple tacos. Just all kinds of stuff like that. So if that change were to come, if those were on top of the woodworking, if those were the types of videos that started showing up on this channel, would you still be a subscriber? Would you still watch? Or would that be more of a, well, I don't like that kind of stuff, I'm only going to go watch these other things? I'm genuinely curious, because I want to know, I want to make an educated guess as to how that would affect this channel, and whether or not it should just be its own channel. And the other side to that too, besides being able to make videos more consistently and more frequently, the other side of this is, and this may sound a little bit greedy, but this channel is already monetized, so there is the potential to make a little bit back on videos like that. Whereas if I start a new channel, I've got to build up the 1,000 subscribers and the, whatever it is, 4,000 hours of watch time, whatever, before that would be able to get monetized. And another consideration there is, let's say you're the type of person that doesn't really have any interest in woodworking, but you do have interest in this stuff, this whatever types of things I sculpt. If you were watching those videos, but you also notice, oh, well, this other thing is about sawing up a log and making a bench, or it's actually a project I'm working on, would that dissuade you from subscribing, coming from that side of things? So I'd honestly, so it's just something I'm kicking around, haven't made up my mind, and I would appreciate feedback from you, the viewer, just as kind of your thoughts on that. Or if there's some other aspect of this that maybe I haven't yet considered. So the options are: start another channel, have that for all of the sculpty, artsy stuff, keep this woodworking and welding, or lump it all together and change the name. That's kind of where I'm at. So let me know what you think. Whether you think it's a good idea, bad idea, or whatever. I really would like the feedback, just to help me try to figure out what's hopefully going to be the best move. I mean, that's kind of it for now. There's some big projects I'm working on that if you follow me on Instagram I've alluded to, but I can't share them just yet. Hopefully the videos will turn out really cool. Some of these, like one of them's a project I've been working on for almost a year, I think. And it's a completely different type of woodworking for me. A lot of new techniques that I've had to learn to be able to do this. So hopefully that'll be done here in the next few weeks, and hopefully the video will be cool. Might take me a while to get that edited, just because it'll make sense when you see it. So that's what's going on in my head, and I just kind of wanted to get that out there, bounce it off you, the folks of the internet, see what you think. And thanks for watching. And if you're new here and you want to see some of the stuff that I make in my shop, whether it be furniture or itty bitty whales, please subscribe. And we'll see you next time. And here's to a great 2020. See ya.